How's it going, folks? Welcome to Overtalk Episode 7. We are in week 5 of our Overwatch embargo. We haven't been able to play Overwatch in about
the best word you could come up with.
I couldn't come up with a word. Whatever. All right, guys. So I'm Kid Liquid. This week we're going ahead and continuing our month-long role and hero discussion. We're going into defense heroes today. So I'm joined by Joshua Piscator Lee, Dylan Pepidus Hornbrook, Rachel Seltzer Querico, and Chris Bizzle Bizzle. How's it going, guys? How's everyone doing?
You're double Bizzle?
He's double Bizzle.
You went double
Bizzle's
Bizzle.
weird.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a last name as cool as Bizzle, I mean, you just keep it. It's just your username after that.
This is true.
It really does.
All right, guys. So how's everyone doing without the Overwatch? Everyone getting their fix in? Everyone okay?
I turned to heroin, but I'm doing okay.
Yeah, so waking up cold and sweaty several times a night. Have nightmares, a lot of nightmares.
It's okay, guys. Blizzard promised us that it would be soon. So hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah, that means a lot when Blizzard says that.
Yeah. Okay, real talk. Like, I played not as much Overwatch as I like should have whenever it was on.
I don't
right?
think any of us did.
So I played enough to like get a hang on it, right? But now that it's not there, I'm like, what do I do?
Jones is
Like,
pretty good.
I really want to play now. Like, for this episode, I was like, I just want to play each character that we're going to talk about like 5 times, but I can't. What do I do?
You don't know what you got till it's gone.
All right, guys.
Yeah, like when Overwatch was around, it affected my job, like casting League of Legends a lot, because I was just playing way too much Overwatch. It's like, what do you think about the new patch? I'm sitting there playing Overwatch, like, yeah, I think this champion's really. Nope, nobody saw that. If any of my anyway.
It was.
I don't think this champ is great for point and defense. Really, just not
It's not part of
not
the
doing
thing.
his job there.
Right.
Oh, see, I ran into the situation where I was at the International, but I had been working on LCS stuff, and so I kept writing champion instead of hero.
Oops.
My God.
Yeah, it was real bad. It was a real bad time. But guys, let's go ahead and get to our actual discussion. So the last week we talked about offense heroes. We're switching gears. We're going to a role that's really in a weird place. Really not as straightforward as the offense role was. The defense role, so the other side of the coin there. How do we feel about this role in general? How it fits in Overwatch and this kind of group of heroes that we have here?
It's a worrying trend. It is a severe worrying trend.
I like one of them.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely a strange. So like last week was offensive heroes are really pretty straightforward. Like everyone's kind of in a good place. They all have their little niche that they fit into. This is just a real compilation of weird stuff. For anyone that doesn't know, that's watching, that doesn't know, or listening, that doesn't know what the heroes are, we're talking about Junkrat, Mei, Torbjorn, Bastion, Hanzo, and Widowmaker. Those are our 6 defense heroes right now. So yeah. I mean, Rachel, what do you think? What do you think of this group?
I think it's really interesting that, you know, how they kind of justified putting all these characters in the defensive group. And it does make a lot of sense. I really like that they're kind of forcing a lot of people to think this way, because playing Team Fortress 2, you see a lot of people make the mistakes of like, ooh, sniper, you know, I can use this on offense, or like, you know, it helps people make a better choice, I think. That said, I think once players become really familiar with these characters, a lot more of them are going to be a lot more mobile than the defense designation. So I just hope everyone's willing to kind of let it go, because I know people really attach themselves to metas, attach themselves to kind of whatever strategies Blizzard itself puts forward. And, you know, it's helpful to think of it this way. But, yeah, I'm just worried in the future when somebody's be like, we're on defense and we don't have a Mei. And I'm going to be like, all right, relax yourself. Like.
Yeah, I think that's really true as well. Like, there's like Mei can easily fit into a support role. Like I think Hanzo can easily fit into very offensive situations and stuff like that.
Junkrat I use on offense all the time. He's great for breaking up defense.
Yeah,
Dude is just
absolutely.
broken in general.
Junkrat's great. I love him.
He's so fun. I main him.
See, I love how you guys are like, Junkrat's broken. And the entire conversation on Reddit for the past 3 days is, why is Junkrat awful?
No, Junkrat's really good, man. I think he's underrated. I think people don't realize or they've never seen a good Junkrat.
There's so
They
many
don't realize
times.
because they don't have the freaking beta. Like half of these, like most of these people on Reddit are just talking about, oh yeah, Junkrat's awful because they saw like 3 clips on YouTube. Like a lot of us have played the game for like 5-6 weeks, and it's like so much of Reddit is just people who are just spouting off things that they heard. I feel like.
Well,
Yeah, bite me.
there are some good points that Junkrat does have a problem with, and now I get to pull out the new term that I sent everyone an article, and I kind of actually nerded out about this, and it was the theory of cent trading, or essentially trading percentages of ults with your damage. And Junkrat doesn't have high finish potential. It's a lot of AoE damage. It's a lot, unless you have someone like in a trap or really locked down, you're usually not the one to get the kill as Junkrat, but you're going to do a lot of damage. But the problem is in the current meta, which has 1 to 2 healers, if you're doing damage to someone and they're getting healed for it, you're essentially losing percent towards ulti against the other team, what the other team's building. Because a lot of heroes will build up ultimate by taking, I think, 12 to 15 damage is usually around where the median is. And then healers like Mercy, for every 15 points of damage every 15 points of damage they heal, they get a percent of their ulti. So essentially, if you do, say, 15 damage, so the other team's going to get 2%, whereas more often than not, doing 15 damage is only going to net you about 1%. So the damage you do on Junkrat, unless you are finishing someone, unless you are actually killing and getting them off the field, you're actually helping the other team build up ultimate.
Yeah, it's a real interesting article. Rachel, keep going. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think and that's what I wonder, like, going forward, once people kind of understand Junkrat, are they going to have the same idea of him, like, in a more advanced game, they might kind of realize, like, yeah, we're going to get pelted, but he's harmless. Because what he's great for currently is those maps, like, that aren't quite great, like Temple of Anubis, second point, when the enemy team is entrenched, and you just need to get them to get up and dance. You can't have all those Bastions and all those Torbjorns sitting in there. So he's great for CC, and that's stuff that doesn't quite always get measured by, damage traded and damage healed when you looked in these situations. But right now, he's one of the few characters that's able to get in a lot of damage indirectly over the walls and stuff to kind of uproot everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think
piggybacking onto what Rachel said, it's when I play Junkrat, like, number one, I feel like he's way more valuable in like a solo environment where people aren't really respecting or playing optimally in terms of trading percentages. But in addition, that zoning that he can create, even though your bombs don't necessarily hit somebody, if you see those bombs come at your feet, you're gonna walk back and automatically you're zoning people out. His mine, his like C4 thing, is incredibly good at peeling in addition to just blowing people off of a point. So in terms of breaking a hill or a point, it's really good. In addition to his trap creating picks, like you go in, you set a trap down, and all of a sudden somebody runs into it. It's a free kill because you can just like land 4 bombs in a row. So zoning is like Junkrat's bread and butter.
Yeah, it's funny. It kind of fits with his character as well that he's causing chaos, and he's so good at just kind of making things very confusing for the team they're fighting against. So I mean, we kind of just jump right into the discussion. Where do we feel? Do we feel Junkrat's in a good place in the meta, or he has, like Rachel was saying, he has a legitimate purpose? But does he fit into comps? Like, is he something you want to use one of your slots on?
Well,
Absolutely.
let's.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say. Oh, okay. I'll go. I say he right now. If you're doing solo queue or pub play, yes, you can definitely play him. He has his strengths. I'd say he's actually above average for pub play. But for pro play, I think that's where he's really falling off right now, where organized play and organized defense are going to eat up his essentially AoE or random damage. Unless someone comes up with a really good idea or some really way to utilize his strengths in a way we haven't seen currently. Remember, we only had like 3 weeks, maybe a month of what we'd call professional play. So I'm absolutely willing to be wrong here, but right now I don't see him being a pro potential pick. It's like a lot of people like to play Spy and Sniper when they play TF2 in a pub crawl, but when you get to the pro level, they're invisible. So I'd say good for normal people. Pro play is where it's really could be an issue.
Sure. Bizzle, what do you think of Junkrat?
I mean, I kind of agree with what Dylan's saying. It's very much like if I were to pick a team out, right? Junkrat would never touch that team, right? But number one, I enjoy the hell out of playing him. Number two, he is a good person when you're just playing a random game. So
You guys talk like a
pretty
bunch
much
of
just
MOBA
what
players.
Dylan
You know what Junkrat is? Junkrat is for like seconds. Like you're advancing on a point that they're entrenched in. You die. You're the first one in your team to die on this push. You better change to fucking Junkrat. Run in there, like blow that stuff up, and on your next death, change back. Like this is the beauty of a class-based FPS like this. Junkrat is great. You should not play him for half a round. You should open with him. You should break down walls with him, and you should switch off him. And a great team. I think we're in the pro levels. We're really going to see a lot more switching as people move up in skill.
I completely agree with that mentality. Like, that mentality is great, right? But it's a matter of if I'm starting out an opening comp, right? I don't see him as an opening comp kind of guy. He is a very situational kind of character in pro play at the very best. Which isn't bad. It's just the way it is.
Yeah,
So,
no, like if you're opening on attack and you're going into something where a Symmetra has set up or a Torbjorn, you can get to some of the higher points, for example, on like King's Row, launch yourself right over that wall, clear that out, and then come right back out again. Like he's a great suicide character.
But my question is, like, if that is my goal, is to clear people out and to like maybe take a different angle to do it, why am I not playing Pharah? Like, that's one of the things that I think is going against Junkrat right now. Is a lot of the things that people want him for, Pharah does it better. You want AoE damage? Pharah does it better. You want more accurate, reliable damage? Pharah does it better. You want a knockback ability to help peel a bit? Pharah does that as well. Plus, she gets to fly on her own without you having to time the concussive mine completely correct. I mean, it just feels to me that if I wanted what Junkrat is really good at, either I would play Pharah, or I'm facing a Torbjorn Bastion, which you wouldn't see in really competitive games.
Yeah. I mean, and
Yeah, again, like we won't see him in competitive games as much, except for that pivot character.
Sure, and does he create enough chaos? Is his impact, like Rachel's saying, big enough to warrant a switch mid game? Like is that because how much time are you figuring? Maybe 6 to 10 seconds each, right? To go ahead and switch in and out, and then plus the time of you being alive and suiciding. Like how much time?
Yeah, no, I would never suicide to switch to him. I would, if I find myself dead running against a wall, pick him up and run in.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, just because you start so far back, especially on like second points, you don't want to waste any of that run time.
Sure.
That, by the way, do you guys is it down for you, the stream?
I'm double checking right now.
It's up for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
weird.
Mine's fine as well. But yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I
So-
need to scoot back a good.
So guys, yeah, last week we talked about
we're like, hold on, let's just
yeah,
reposition ourselves.
we talked about how for offensive heroes, Soldier 76 was really sort of the entry level hero for kind of that style of play. What do you in this kind of in this I guess role? What do you see as the entry level kind of? Oh, if you want to play a defensive style hero, here's a general kind of idea of what that role is.
Bastion.
What is that here? Is that Bastion?
Yeah.
Is that the turret himself?
I mean, my idea of a defense class is controlling a zone and denying map presence. And all of these characters do that in a very specific way. But Bastion is probably the most straightforward to play. You pick a spot. This looks cozy. You sit down with your picnic blanket and you just freaking farm away at heroes until somebody is finally like, yo, shit, I think we need a fucking Symmetra or something like that. Because in solo queue especially, nobody responds to it. It's like, stupid Bastion's OP, and it takes like 4 respawns before somebody's like, should we get a Winston? Should we get a Symmetra? Something like that. So I think Bastion's so easy to play. That's the entry level for defense.
Although I
agree with Josh because that was the first thing I did. I'm like, I'm playing Mr. Sentry Gun guy.
If I hold this button, pain comes out. But the only thing about him is He's the only guy when you hit his what is usually the speed up for everyone else. His is the root and cheat gun. So I'm always like, you come off somebody fast, you come off like a Soldier 76 or somebody who runs and moves very quickly, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking fly to the fuck, and then like every time in a fight, I screw up with him. So I love him as an entry level. He screwed me up long term for movement though.
Yeah,
my biggest problem when playing him was I kept on holding down shift, thinking I had to hold it down to stay in turret form, and it just kept on switching me in and out. And I'm like, up, down, what the?
This guy's broken.
It took me 2 games to realize I was just being really stupid.
Yeah, so I mean, he kind of is when you think of a defense hero, when you say defense role, he really is the epitome of that, right? Like he's the definition. He is a turret. He is a kind of walking siege machine. I guess not walking, he's just a siege machine. But yeah, like what is his role right now in the meta? Where do we see him fitting in?
Anti-siege. He's literally the point holder. Hanamura
Hanamura.
Yeah. Just sitting in the back, trying to find like 1 or 2 locations on a map where someone's not going to get to his back and murder him. And so you can play him in Hanamura. You can play him in what's our Egypt map?
Anubis.
Yeah. So you can play him Anubis. You can play him Hanamura. But if you're really looking to go, high ceiling, high ability, you're just avoiding him.
Sure. And so wait, we brought this up on the map discussion that we did. Go back to that episode if you want to go hear more about that. But we were talking about spawn points and how that makes defense so much easier, just the way Hanamura and Anubis are both set up for defense. Does it make Bastion easier to abuse? And if they do fix the spawn camping that can kind of happen on points, does that ruin Bastion's usability because you can't get there as quickly to set up your turret? What do you guys think?
Well, let me put it this way. If you're being pushed to the point that the enemy team is constantly contesting your point, Bastion is essentially useless. Because it does take so long for him to get set up, the time for him to run out, sit down in an area where he's going to be able to get his shots off, which means it's contested area, people can likely shoot him, he'll drop before he gets into turret form. It's not like I just pop out and I'm insta-turret. It's I have to pop out, now wait 3 seconds while I sit here and transform myself. It's very hard. He needs even more safety than what he currently has when it's in contest. If you have waves where the enemy team and you've got a couple seconds, it can work. But I mean, his glaring issues aren't with the map. His glaring issues are with team coordination, and obviously once the players get better, once they really understand the weaknesses of Bastion, it's going to be so easy for people to just get behind him and exploit him.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, you gotta get to the party first, hands down.
The question then is how does he get fixed though? If that's an issue, if that is the issue with them.
Yeah, I think that's something the Overwatch team has a golden question. It's how do we fix Torbjorn and Bastion? And I don't know. My first instinct is I used to play Modern Warfare 2, and I used to snipe a lot. And I was a camping sniper. I wasn't even the good sniper. I wasn't even the efficient sniper. I was the guy that knew exactly where I wanted to be. And the way I'd save myself from being the super vulnerable prone sniper I was to set up traps. Now, if they give him the ability to maybe set up some traps or at least sensors to tell you, hey, this guy is coming for your hiney, maybe that would help him.
Yeah.
I'm in the other ship where I really think Bastion deserves nerfs or a complete rework rather than buffs in that area to counteract for his weaknesses, because in my mind, when you pick Bastion, you're making a commitment. You're going to be in a long-term relationship with whatever piece of ground that you like to plop yourself down on. But the problem is, once you get into that relationship, you move the couches in, you figure out whose dishes are whose. He's really hard to break unless you have a specific team comp for it, and it takes a lot of time and resources in order for him to get off that point. I have talked about this with like shooter players, mobile players, and everything, and things that we've come up with is reducing fire rates. His shield is way too heavy, and it regens way too fast. The fact that he can heal himself on top of that is just, I think, broken. Like, if you get damage onto somebody with a a strong position, you should be rewarded for that. But instead, he just hits E. He's like, haha, it's like I'm Soraka, and my mistakes don't matter because I can just heal up whatever I want to. Like, he needs to be easier to break, and those weaknesses of him being able to be jumped on, I feel like are good. But it's so hard, especially on maps like Hanamura and Anubis, to even get to that point. Because even as a Reinhardt, you have that shield up, Bastion just holds left click. It's like, haha, I got rid of your shield. My mechanics are so good. It's like, we need to be able to get rid of him quicker.
Out of curiosity, in this metaphor, are you trying to break up him in the ground and get in a relationship with the ground afterwards? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, you have to own the ground, man.
You gotta be a home wrecker, Chris.
Yeah,
Pretty much, you got to be a home wrecker. Leave some underwear somewhere that isn't his or hers. Like, start making him question why exactly he's... I don't know how we got here. Let's just say that Bastion needs nerfs. That's the end of the story.
But I mean, if we nerf Bastion, what happens to him? Because essentially we've already established the fact that Bastion's just never going to see the light of day in pro play, that he's going to be this like this high floor, low barrier to entry sort of defensive hero. But if we're
gates to elo hell, like you only have to deal with like the absolute turd that is Bastion, like if you're playing it like 25 and below.
Yeah. So if our goal is to make every, hero viable, I mean, a dream that'll probably never come true, but if our goal is to make every hero viable, does nerfing someone who already has problems fix him, or just say we're going to lessen the pain for entry level folks?
It just makes him Torbjorn at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a whole different story. Little Santa Claus is like way worse than Bastion.
Yeah, so I mean, Rachel, what do you think? What do you think about the nerf buff thing? Maybe even a full rework.
I've actually always kind of had a problem with him existing alongside Torbjorn. I always feel like, give Torbjorn 2 turrets and, give him the engineer treatment. I never kind of understood exactly where Bastion fit in. And so I think, like you guys said, he needs a total rework in kind of what he does and what he offers. Like whether that's changing, rates of fire, or, how he gets into position, or what that position looks like once he's entrenched. But he's another one that's, like, what are you really going to do with him? That doesn't make him a copy of anyone else at this point.
Sure, I think the general idea of him is good. It's just the execution that is a little bit of an issue. Bizzle, what do you think?
I mean, I like him where he is, honestly. I can't see any nerfs to him personally. I'm not a part of that camp. But I mean, he's a frustrating character to play against when you're new. But after that, you're fine. So ELO hell. There we go.
Okay, fair enough. Bastion has some major flaws, but I think we do enjoy his design and the overall concept of him, right? Like, we think it's a good concept. It just needs some different execution.
Yeah, I mean, art story-wise, he's actually a nice, well-rounded character. I'd be excited to see where his story goes later on. But right now, yeah, he's just got problems. So let's hope, hey, when we get it back, maybe there's some changes.
Sure. So let's go deeper down the problem well here. Let's hit up our man Torbjorn. What how do you feel about Torbjorn?
Who?
How do you feel?
Who?
I like playing him. I wish his gun did more damage, really. I wish
just had more effect in general. I'd be happy with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he was having issues with the May bug for a while.
That was funny.
That was so fun.
Hard counter Maywall.
Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know, basically if you May walled the turret, as soon as it would even move up, it would just destroy the turret instantaneously. So it was like the ultimate hard counter. So I know a lot of people kind of strayed away from that. Is it the idea that like no one's played Torbjorn that much, so we just haven't seen a good Torbjorn, or is he just a bad hero?
He's just a bad hero. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he suffers from like a Freaky Friday level of identity crisis. It's like he's a bruiser who also wants to stay put, who also wants to go collecting, who also wants to like go crazy like with a Winston ult. It's like what is he supposed to do? Like I don't understand. Like I have this gun that turns into a shotgun, and then I have to go collect pieces for a turret that's supposed to stay put. And on top of that, I get an ultimate that makes me like unkillable. It's like I have no idea what to do with the guy, and I think that needs to be very, very clear.
No, you use the ultimate to make a level 3 turret. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
oh, because it gives him scrap. See, I just completely forgot because like I never see Torbjorn. Oh, he gets he gives armor too. Like what the fuck? This guy does everything, but he does nothing well.
Okay. So let's talk about this and break it down for the people that haven't played Torbjorn. So essentially, when you start out with Torbjorn, you have 100 scrap to build a tier 1 turret. So his turret has 3 levels, and you can only have 1 turret out at a time. So you can build your first turret. It costs you no scrap. That's a level 1 turret. Now, if you spend 100 scrap, you can take that turret to the next level. Essentially, you can start every game with a tier 2 turret. Now, he has another ability called it's a making a shield ability. Essentially gives any one of your teammates who picks up the shield 50 extra health. Now, this is different from a Symmetra shield. When Symmetra shields someone, it gives them 50 health, but it's regenerative. It always comes back up. Torbjorn's armor does not. It essentially just is there and then it's gone. And then to make matters worse, you've spent 50 scrap that isn't helping you get the next level turret. So I don't know if I've ever seen a Torbjorn actually give out a shield to start the game. Because if I'm Torbjorn and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I set up my turret, I want this level 2 ASAP, because then I want to get level 3. And when you get it level 3, it kind of gets the TF2 treatment of tier 3, now I get rockets. And rockets are where you actually start really doing damage. Because every one of those rocket hits for 70 points.
Yeah. But the problem
now,
is
I didn't cover the scrap mechanic. So last bit, this is like the paragraph hero. This is the one you actually have to like learn about Torbjorn to even like understand why it's so bad. In order to get the scrap to get the next level turrets, it's not like TF2 where they're just lying around the map and you can go run and find it. You actually have to collect it from dead enemy heroes' bodies. So you actually have to go into battle, collect 100 scrap, which I think it's like 25 scrap per head. So you actually have to go out, find 4 dead opponents, run back to your turret, because most likely you did not set up your turret right where the first battles are. It's usually along your first point, which is like halfway in between where the starting phase is. So you go out, fight with your really bad gun or your hammer in case you're like, I have shit health and I'm going to melee you to death. So you have to go out and be this weird, like, mid-range bruiser fighter for the first part of the game. Hope you got enough scrap to scurry on back to your turret to hopefully get it to tier 3 and be effective. Now, you can also die, and sometimes when you die, you pick up a certain amount of scrap. It depends on how long you've been alive and how much damage you've done. So you can res with somewhere between, say, 40 scrap and 100 scrap. If you don't get that 100 scrap, get back to your tier 2 to turn it to a tier 3, you're kind of just pointless. And then, let's not forget, your turret's undefensible. Like, you can repair it while you're sitting there, literally on top of it, banging away with your hammer, doing nothing else. But if that turret dies, then you've lost all progress, and now you're just the worst character in the game. There is so much that goes into trying to make him that tier 3 turret viable nature, but it's all for naught if someone just, say, has a Pharah.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say to that is, you said there's a lot to learn before you even touch the character. But the character, it was one of the first characters I played. Never watched anything, and I picked him up pretty instantaneously. Like, all of the stuff is really intuitive in how it works. It's just also really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh,
So-
Rachel, what do
Well,
you
I
guys
think the thing is to figure out he's bad is what you have to read for. Because you could be in there, it's like, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything this hero can do. Why is this not working well? And then you read everything and you just think to yourself, wow, he's just that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got so frustrated with, that when you're first clicking through all the heroes and you're like, oh, I'll play Torbjorn, this will be fun. I haven't tried him before. And you're like, why can't I upgrade my turret anymore? And you're like, I have to fucking pick up that over there? And you're like, you are just trying to leave my turret alone, you bastards. You pick it up and you walk back and it's already been blown to shit. Like, it's the most depressing thing. But I do wonder, like, if, as we move forward competitively, if he's a character with functionality that, obviously he's going to need a couple tweaks. It's really kind of frustrating to play him right now. But if you have a perfect team comp with really perfect defense on your turret, do you think the turret's strong enough then to actually have, let your medic sit back there and, have somebody else around there? Kind of like you used to build a little engineer nest in Team Fortress 2. I mean, do you think his functionality is going to emerge with more strategic play?
I think you'd
It
really
could.
have to set it. You'd really have to set it up. Like you'd have to make a Torbjorn composition to even make that work.
This is like Plan C, when you've already busted down, Plan A and B, and they're like, well, there's one thing we could try, and then you like, Torbjorn, and everyone's like, what the fuck? And then you win. Like
I could see at BlizzCon, on the BlizzCon stage, World Championship, the team's like dying, they're losing their match, it's over, it's pretty much over, and they switch to a Torbjorn comp to win. That'd be the most
Like,
magical thing.
5 Torbjorns and a Bastion? Amazing. I don't know. Dream.
You laugh, but I've lost to cheese strats that are 5 Torbjorns.
What?
And here's the funny thing is, one of the things that I've seen, and once again, this is me playing at whatever random terrible elo I am in the beta phase, but if you can overlap your Torbjorns, you can actually get through some of the negative points of it, where essentially to get rid of it, you either have to go really long range, or you have to get up close and personal. That's how people get through Torbjorn turrets. So if their goal is to get close range, like say a Tracer or a Reaper to really get in there, take out, because you really have to take out the Torbjorn to take out the turret. He heals them pretty quickly, so trading isn't usually the best option. But if you actually get up close and personal and take him out with like a Reaper, when you have double overlapping Torbjorns where they're watching each other's backs, there is a little bit of effectiveness there. I think Symmetra can also go a long way to helping out Torbjorns and Bastions when she sets up her turrets. But I mean, you're really nesting there. Like, we have to pretty much say these are not payload defense heroes, or at least not until you get to the very end.
The one thing I will say about Torbjorn, and the one map I really do like him on, is Hanamura, the first defense point of Hanamura.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making sure I got that right.
The Japanese
the first defense point, right? Because people will throw themselves into that small little point, that small little area, right? Where you can easily go grab scrap from the small little area that like one person has died on, and then come back from that, and then go repair and then upgrade your turret. That's the only place he is like decent at that I've noticed. And again, as Dylan said, this is in like pub games where I'm just like playing against whoever. So that's the one place I felt good with him on.
Yeah, Josh, what do you think? Josh has a look at
Josh
defeat.
is so gone. He's like, nope. There's nothing I can
I'm not
say.
engaging with Torbjorn.
I've tried so hard to make it work. I've made compromises.
You've tried hard to be in that relationship.
I've tried hard, baby. I really did. I prayed for strength and I looked for meaning, but
It's not
I
me,
just
it's you.
found better meaning in literally every other hero in the. I swear, even Genji's a better defense hero than Torbjorn. But I will say this: if Torbjorn gets snowballing and you have a couple of them, it's really annoying. But he's like, dude, I'm playing a shooter. Why are you making me farm minions in a freaking shooter to become like remotely useful? It's like, I don't like Torbjorn right now. I think he lacks a real sense of identity, and the current kit that he has now just takes way too long to get ramped up, and that's the last thing you want in a shooter, to You don't want to scale in the middle of a game in a shooter.
Here's my problem with him, is I don't think thematically he's fitting his story. Because his story is that he is the maker of the weapons that were used by the soldiers of Overwatch. I think they could shift him more away from defense to being much more of a supportive type. Like, let's say his shield actually was a damage boost. Now it's actually got some usage there. Like, let's say he's actually amping up his teammates, and maybe we shift his turret away from being like the TF2 turret, maybe to being like the TF2 disposal units, where people getting around it are getting, we can't use ammo in this case, but getting health back, where he's really setting up nests of defense rather than damage.
I could see that. Actually, I really like that. But the kind of tweak that I was looking at, what if you gave the turret legs and it walked around with you?
Like a pet?
Like a pet. Like a pet.
Like a cat?
No.
Yeah, like a mechanical
Like a little
Gatling
Wally?
gun cat.
I'm in.
Yeah, like
I
what
wonder.
what changes does that? Honestly, in my opinion, that really helps. If the turret walks around with you, if it's a mobile turret, you can't really control where it goes, but just follows you around. Like, honestly, I can see the application.
Run out the battle, your back is covered. Like, it can kind of pick with you, and Tracer hops up on you. I like that.
Alright, so I know this is like really picking at this idea here, right? It walks around with wheels and like rolls around, right? It does not actually.
No, it's not like. Well, it's either that or like spider.
Spider robots.
Yeah, like a spider robot. Like it has.
This
legs.
is the problem I have. Not the walking concept. It's like he needs wheels.
Yeah,
No, it can't have wheels. There are no wheels in Overwatch. That was
Too
a
unrealistic
specification.
Yeah,
There's a car.
I'm pretty sure the only rule in
There will
Overwatch.
be no wheels in this game.
Dude,
Okay, fine.
the-
He can have shreds. I don't care. I don't want him to walk.
No, he has spider legs. Like I love how I threw out this idea, and you're like, well, what if the damage output? What if how fast does it walk? No, yours is it needs wheels. It can't walk. Like what's wrong with you?
No, okay. All right, we're talking about a game that has a great thematic sort of like element to it that holds it together.
Spider turrets. Come on.
Like,
Wait. What if level 1 is it follows him like a puppy, and then level 2 he rides it like a horse, and then level 3 sort of like in like the mech? Yeah.
He turns into Diva at that point. I'm in. He turned into Diva at that point.
Like Junkyard Diva, like he's upright, not like laying down all sleek.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm down. It's.
Let
You're
me
welcome,
just-
Blizzard. Take it. It's all yours.
All right. Getting back to the more serious nature here. I want to
that's serious.
throw
Yeah,
out a
so-
question here. One of my main one of the more exceeding problems with Torbjorn is the fact that when you want to pick up your turret and place it somewhere else, you have to start from square one. So essentially, you can't, if you have a tier 3 and you like it, but you feel that you guys are being pushed out and you want to move it back, you can't. You have to go build a brand new turret, and you have to start from level 1, and you lose all sort of progress and value that you've built up to this point. Would it be worth it to say Torbjorn can tear down his level 3s, take them back, and build them in a new location?
I'd be
It's
baller.
just follow him like a puppy.
I'd be all about that idea, actually. Now the question is, how do you do that? Do you have it to where it just go in?
I would say
in
like a cooldown, like you go up, and instead of building it, you can go ahead and dismantle, and it has a cooldown of build up and build down.
Yeah, I mean, this would be stealing directly from TF2 at this point.
Yeah.
But that's what you can do.
Is
I was
your
gonna go
queue?
there and steal more. Why not a second turret then? And then you can at any given point you can only have one upgraded. So you can go plunk down that second turret, and kind of like as you build one up, the other one will fall apart.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem with
I
that
would figure
idea
it out.
is that you now have a level 1 turret, and good luck with that.
Hey,
Yeah.
but
Well, I
a
mean,
level one
the
turret-
one that you set
if the
down
level
and start
1
working,
turret's
so you
watching my
know,
back,
level 2 behind you, turn around, drop that level 1, and as you build it up, taking parts from the other one.
Oh my god. Just line
Because
up
I
there.
mean,
One problem with Torbjorn is he's totally, at least he can turn around unlike Bastion, but he's totally ineffective. I would love if he could work a whole angle with 2 turrets.
Working that
Maybe.
angle.
work that angle.
All right.
Yeah.
So I love the idea. The Q is disabled whenever you have a turret up, correct? Am I right in that? The Q is to build a turret.
No, you can build a turret at any time while the turret's up. It'll just build a new turret, and you lose the other one.
Oh crap. Okay, I'm thinking button layout. I'm sorry. Like again, like this is me just going off into another tangent entirely. But I guess you would have the Q disabled at that point, and then I don't know how that works. Never mind. I'm not a button mechanic.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, okay. Well, let's just. Torbjorn has a lot of problems. He needs help. Bastion needs help. Let's go into some heroes that are actually competitively ready.
Yep.
I guess we'll start with Widowmaker. How do we feel about the French spy here?
I felt
Killed
like
her
I felt like I was so good when I started playing, and I played her, right? And I got like 2 headshots, and then I realized I was awful. Like, this is a character that makes you feel like you're good, but you're not really good.
Counterpoint. I have never felt good while playing Widowmaker because I am just that bad at playing Widowmaker. But I think she's incredibly powerful, especially when you pair her with the Mercy and you get the damage boost, and you're pretty much one-shotting everybody below, like, what, 150 or 200?
Didn't they already nerf that? That the Mercy Widowmaker combination, or they already had to touch that to bring it down because it was so strong.
And then became the rise of Pharah Mercy.
Well, no, that just pushed it over the edge. Like, there was a time where Mercies were like, do I help the Pharah or do I help the Widowmaker? These are equal things. And then they're like, oh, we nerfed Mercy Widowmaker. It's like, Pharah wins!
It's like a Mortal Kombat Mac. Pharah wins! Rachel, what do you think of Widowmaker?
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree where I'm like, oh, this is fun, look, I'm killing people, and then, like, Torch was, like, straight up like, don't even bother playing her, you'll never be one of the great snipers, and I'm like, thanks, baby! Thumbs up! Like, you know, as much fun as I'll ever have on Widowmaker, I'm not one of the great snipers, so, you know, it's a character I really can't wait to see in the pro meta, the way they use it, and those sick frag videos of just, like, psh, 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 psh.
The 360 no-scopes, the MLG 420 YOLOs. All the things.
360 no-scopes, though.
MLG 420 YOLOs.
I mean, if they're really low on health, I guess you can. Oh, no, that's true, because you go into auto mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One bullet left in the clip.
Yeah. You do it. Just do it. MLG, now owned by Blizzard Activision, or Activision Blizzard.
Yep.
Oh,
Works.
that's true. It only
We're
makes
gonna give
sense.
this brand new meaning to MLG.
Please, as soon as you get a headshot, it has to say MLG 360 no-scope.
And just throw Mountain Dew at you through the screen.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, so I mean,
All right,
that
fine.
we're
We'll
gonna
put the Coke brand. We'll put the Coke brand of it. That's fine.
No, it's
the
Dr.
Coke
Pepper.
equivalent of
It's
Mountain
Dr.
Dew.
Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, guys. Let's Dylan has
What is
anything to say
the
about
Coke
it.
brand of Mountain Dew?
Is it
No,
Sierra?
Mountain Dew's owned by PepsiCo.
Yeah, is it Sierra?
Yeah,
Mist?
what is the
the
Coca-Cola?
Oh,
Coke
Sierra
brand?
Mist
Yeah,
or
Sierra Mist,
Mellow
right?
Yellow.
There
Mellow
it is.
Yellow, that's what it is. All right, let's do Mellow Yellow. We'll be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sierra Mist, I think, is actually.
Yeah,
Okay,
Pepsi.
you know, beverage brands aside and day jobs aside.
Let's blast through these guys. Let's blast through these last couple. We have
Oh no, okay. I'm gonna say my piece about Widowmaker. Widowmaker has a great up and coming potential for the pro scene. As we get more people that are the hardened pros of the FPS scene, maybe even get some of the oppers coming in out of CS:GO. It's going to serve an extremely vital purpose in disabling supports. And I'm probably going to say this exact same thing about Hanzo. Is one of the big problems we have right now is the fact that supports are so effective at keeping front lines of teams alive right now. We really do need heroes that are going to be effective at taking out your Lucio and your Mercy. Now, the snipers have just enough damage where if they hit the critical headshots, that all supports go down. One shot, done. If we get to the point where snipers can effectively do this, where the high skill cap people can effectively do this, I think they're going to come into more power. But given the state of the game right now and the fact that snipers, people just haven't had enough time to attune themselves to what sniping is in this game. because sniping is different game to game to game. You have to get used to everything that's different about the physics, the move speed, getting used to how every single different hero moves in the game. So for snipers right now, I think it's going to be hard, but once people really start learning how to use all the different heroes and have a better feeling for the game, I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think right now, when we're going to talk about it on the support episode as well, support is so strong right now, and I think we need more heroes that are more pick oriented. And we kind of talked about this with the mobility that Reaper has and Tracer has. We talked about that last week. But yeah, I think Widowmaker definitely has that potential. We just need to see a lot more, like you said, the hardcore FPS sniper audience to come in and really get a feel for this game. And from what we've seen so far, it's something that with the domination that's happening with Pharah and Mercy, like we were talking about, like definitely something that's needed. But yeah, let's move on to Hanzo. Kind of in the same vein of Widowmaker, you know, that sniper kind of type. What do we feel about Hanzo? What makes him different from Widowmaker? And I guess in that sense,
tank killing. Something about Hanzo what separates the good Hanzos from the great Hanzos, I feel like, is your ability to properly use your scatter shot, because you could potentially just like one shot a Roadhog if you angle it just right. Widowmaker, like, even if you get a damage boosted headshot, you're not going to take out a Roadhog in one shot, right? But the fact that Hanzo offers an incredible amount of burst, I think, gives him a really solid place in any sort of team comp, especially on certain areas of maps where things are really close quarters. On the first hill defense of Hollywood, if people are coming into that side room, you walk in and you're facing off against a Hanzo with scatter shot up, you're pretty much going to die because he's going to scatter that all in the room. So he has really specific zone control. His vision, his little sonar thing, is something that I think is incredibly underrated because you don't really have a radar in this game. So I think Hanzo, in the hands of the proper player, is an absolute monster.
And let's just say, maybe best ultimate in the game. I mean,
it's so good, yeah.
Crazy damage. You want to get someone off a freaking point. You want to make a Torbjorn or Bastion have, like, a fit. Hanzo is, like, situationally one of the best ultimates in the game. If you can go through the process of actually building up his ultimate and building it up quickly, that can move along a game so well. If a Hanzo's on fire, he'll just advance payload on you all day long.
Yeah. Very, very good. Rachel, Bizzle, what do you guys think?
It's my least favorite thing to be standing in a hallway and be like, hey guys, we seem to be moving forward. Everything's going progress.
I think it made it better that Rachel's mic kind of cracked with the sound there.
Yeah. I mean, it's so jarring. But like, if it's your first time playing, the first time that ability comes out at you, you're just like,
what the fuck?
I die.
Or it just comes through the wall. Like, he'll be shooting perpendicular to you, and you're just like, everything's you just evaporate.
Yeah, I think the fact that it goes through walls is like really broken. Like, what? Just goes through
like
everything.
Maybe like some damage as it comes through the wall or something. Like, they shouldn't be able to just like what am I thinking of, the payload map where everyone hangs out in the hallway, Symmetra fills it with whatever. Yeah.
Oh, no, Gibraltar.
Gibraltar, yes. When you're in that little hut and he just fires it through there. Whatever level you're on, it fucks you.
Yep.
I think that ultimate, like, Hanzo's the only one I've gotten like a full, like, 5-man ace with. No, wait, it's 6 people a team.
Yeah, it's 6.
Six people.
And this is just because of the fact that his ultimate is, like, so incredibly strong and his scatter shot is so good.
And the fact that it can literally kill tanks. Like, if you sit and take the full brunt of that dragon, which sometimes you're forced to, sometimes you can't get out of the way of it, it can kill every single hero in the game.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never been hit by this dragon ever.
What?
Never.
I think we know
Not
what we're
once.
doing. Everyone switch to Hanzo and kill him.
Just admit that he's played a total of like what 6 games of Overwatch. So
Yeah, there we go.
He's the one with the arrow. You remember him?
Small sample size, bud. Small sample size.
No, I've played a ton of games, and like I've had like at least like 30 come at me, But
Come at me, bro.
I
Man, I wish I had low MMR.
You're gonna remember this day where you're like, I remember when I said I didn't get hit by Hanzo ultimates in a game where someone hits like 6 on you. And it's like, oh, okay.
Well,
Okay, so when the beta comes back, we're all loaded into the game.
Stream day 1 of the beta and pay me $5 every time you get wrecked by a Hanzo dragon.
Damn, she can straight retire.
I'll send you $100.
Alright, we're done. Alright, anyways, but regardless. Alright, I will. Alright, so, but regardless of that, right, you're right that it does, even if, and I was about to get to this, even if I don't get hit by it, I have to move out of the way of this gigantic thing coming at me, right? Which then clears a path and clears a room, which allows people to go in, right? He's a really, really good character that I don't think people have gotten good enough with him yet. Like, people haven't gotten top tier enough with him yet. But I think he has a ton of potential. I think he's really, really good. So that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, he's real strong, and I think your point about we haven't really seen what Hanzo can do yet. I think that's extremely true, and I think it's the same thing with Widowmaker. Like, as soon as these top level kind of sniper players get into this stuff, like we're gonna see some crazy stuff. But let's kind of go through the last one here. We have May. She's announced at BlizzCon. May the Bay. What do we think, guys?
I really definitely shouldn't nerf her. Keep her exactly the way she is. I'm not biased at all. She's really good.
I think she has a very unique sense where she is the perfect flank control. Every hero that is based around flanking and really coming at you from the side, like say your Reapers, your Tracers, maybe even your McCrees who are trying to set up like a sneaky high noon. She just being there and controlling their mobility and slowing them down is so amazing. Like, I think she has her set duty. It's just the fact that in most of the games we play right now, flank control is not a huge issue. People aren't playing the side games as much as they are playing the like push straight down Main Street sort of game. So I think as flanking, as some of these high mobility side game type heroes get more and more popular, I think she'll get even more popular than she is right now. Not to mention the fact that she has an AoE CC ultimate, which is just crazy good.
Yeah. Honestly, I think she fits better as a support hero. I think we talked about this earlier too.
I mean,
I play her a lot on offense, actually.
My only problem, and I've said this a lot before, is that I just personally think she slows down the game too much. Whenever I play her, I get hit by her, I'm like, well, let me just sit here and do nothing for like 10 seconds while I die, and then
dude, sometimes you just need to chill, man. You just need to.
It just doesn't feel good to die to her, right? And they talked about this like
no, it's painful.
Dude, frostbite hurts, man. You lose limbs that way.
Okay. All right, but they talked about this a lot in Hearthstone, right? This like idea of like losing like in a good feeling way, right? There are ways to lose in a good feeling way. When you play Hearthstone, it's trading minions, etc., right? But when and I think in Overwatch, it's like, okay, I got hit by this or I got hit by that, right? And I'm dead, right? But with her, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna sit here, die. It doesn't feel good.
I think the fact that you're not like actually stunned really helps. Like you're limited mobility, but you're not. You can still shoot. You can still kind of slowly look around. It's not like you're bringing up the Hearthstone example. It's not like you're playing against like Armor Warrior or like Secret Paladin where like they drop Mysterious Challenger and you're just kind of like, well, that happened.
I don't know. It's kind of exactly like playing against like Resident because you die screaming. Like you just watch yourself. It's like getting stabbed in the old like Dane Cook stand up. You're there the whole time where you're just like, and then you just shatter. And I hate all 4 seconds of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just doesn't feel good. And that's just my take on it. I don't play the character, so I can't really speak to how good like she is. I've tried, and it's not my character. So
We've done 5 May and Reaper comps. Those are fun. Just like freeze everyone and then have Reaper walk up and punch him in the face.
Well, now that her freeze no longer stacks, that is less ridiculous.
Yeah, Rachel, what do you think? What do you think of May?
I mean, she's a character that I think she's entered that kind of perfect zone because if I'm prepared and I'm keeping an eye out for her, she's no problem at all for me. But the minute you take your eyes off her, like she's powerful in a lot of ways. I really like her mobility. I wouldn't give her anything else. But I also can't think of what to take away from her. I think she's one of those characters that, should be kind of left alone and maybe balanced around. But, damn, because she's a teamwork character. You would never play May, in a 1v1 ever, unless you just hate the other person that much. But, where you would play, Soldier 76, if you're a single person hopping into the game and you don't play well with the team, you're going to go for, a 76. Or you might, maybe go for support, but you would never go for May. May is just a kind of a beautiful testament to the teamwork that you're going to need to be really good at this game. And so she's another one, I can't wait to see how she's used, but mostly because I know it's going to be beautiful. Not how the fuck does this work? Show me, pros. It's you're going to do great things. Take it.
No, and I like the point about the teamwork, because one of the things that we haven't really seen, but I think is so brilliant about May, is the fact that you can lift up teammates with her wall. So she can be used with Bastion and Torbjorn to get them up to places they wouldn't originally be. And that may be one of the things that you actually need with those heroes to get them into a position where they're actually strong. Maybe sneak them into a corner where, backstabs aren't going to get to Bastion.
Maybe. All right, guys.
Yeah, and you can stop the payload, right? It literally stops it.
Wait, if you put the wall in front of it stops it?
Yeah, if you put the wall in front of the payload, it progress.
It stops. Now, it does tear down the wall in 1 to 2 seconds, but if you're even better about it, you can lay it horizontally along the line, and it just frustratingly halts it. It's so good.
What? That's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
Now, when you have 6 seconds left on the clock, you can spawn 3 Mays and just stop that payload or something. I don't know. She's just we're gonna see a lot of amazing plays pivot around her in the future.
Amazing play.
Me and Josh shouldn't be in the same room.
We should.
We shouldn't be. All right, guys. So that's the 6 heroes so far. Does anyone have a power ranking ready to go? Of just generally speaking.
Well, it depends. Are we saying how do we want to do this power ranking? So where they are right now, or where their potential to be is?
Where they are right now. Where we feel they are right now. Just a general. That's a ringtone.
You remember my Pikachu?
I do, but yeah. There's a lot louder than I thought it was gonna be. But yeah, the same thing we did last week, guys. Just where they fit now in a general sense, not specifically for comps, but just sort of where power-wise where they fit. Generally,
I got one
in the game. What do you got, Bizzle?
Yep.
Let me know.
Okay. It is May, Widowmaker, Hanzo, Junkrat, Bastion, Torbjorn.
Okay. I have essentially the same list. I have May, Hanzo, Widowmaker, Junkrat, Bastion, and Torbjorn.
Mine is identical to yours, Chris.
Okay.
Did you guys rank them all versus? Because I have just 3 tiers there. I would say May and Hanzo Widowmaker on top. Junkrat's a nice mid tier, and Torbjorn and Bastion.
This unique snowflake over here.
Yeah. So I am actually going to go with Hanzo on the lead. I actually think that he's in a good place. And I think it's, it's up to the community to really get up to using him, because not only on top of his skill set, which I think is good, his mobility is very good. I mean, they gave him the scaling ability to get wherever he needs to go. I think there's a lot to be learned with him and to be adapted, but I think out of the defense class, I think he will need the least amount of help in the future. So I go Hanzo numero uno, then May, then I do Widowmaker, Junkrat, and then Bastion, Torbjorn in the class.
Yeah, I just tipping this off. This just hit me, Dylan, when you brought that up. Honestly, Hanzo to me feels like how for League of Legends Lucian was when he was first released, where no one kind of everyone understood the potential of Lucian, right? We just didn't know how to use him. And it took a good 3 to 4 months before we were like, wait, this is how you build. You build them with CDR, and you do this, and this is the spell rotation. And like, as soon as everyone figured that out, Lucian became this gigantic powerhouse. And I think that's what we're going to see from Hanzo.
Yeah, I think, I think he's there. I think they may, if they feel that he's not strong enough, which I don't think they're going to get to. I think if they feel they need to buff him, they could probably make the load time into his arrows a little bit quicker, or speed them up, or make them a little straighter, because he does have bullet drop, which does not happen with Widowmaker. That is one strength she has over him, is the fact that you have to figure out the ballistic dynamic of Hanzo. You have to figure out where the curve and the drop is, whereas Widowmaker is a straight beeline. It is an instantaneous shot. I think it's one of the few that is instantaneous damage, isn't it?
I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really seen it.
I didn't know Widowmaker was a hit scan. I thought she was a projectile.
Is she a projectile?
I think so.
Or is the rate of fire on there just so high that it seems instantaneous?
Her bullet is much quicker than the Hanzo arrow.
Yeah. I think Hanzo's projectile for sure. But Reaper, Soldier 76, Diva, people like that are like hit scans.
Yeah.
And like
okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've played the game.
Yeah, once again, we need time to test. I mean, obviously we're all trying to conjecture off past memories of a month ago now.
Yeah. Sweet
but
memories.
Yeah, I think Hanzo's ready to go. I think if the world catches up to Hanzo, he could be a really interesting guy. And once again, I just can't throw away how good his ultimate is. Like, I think there's just so much you can do with that ultimate.
Yeah, I like Rachel's idea of it needs to dissipate damage as it goes through different walls. Like, by the time it gets to you, if it goes across the map, by the time it gets to you, it has to like tickle you. Like, it shouldn't do full damage through a wall.
Unless more CC is put into the game, I think you have to keep it. Because against good teams, the ones with coordination, that is not going to land unless there is, something locking them down. So unless we add a lot more lockdown and that becomes more and more common with the hero classes, I think it needs that element of surprise. It's kind of like Rainbow Six Siege style, where it's like, aha, I've come at you from this angle you would never have suspected. And that's the strength of it.
As they come through the wall and just power through.
Yeah.
We need destructible walls so Hanzo's dragon just breaks a map.
That'd be so
don't
epic.
break up the pretty maps.
That'd be
so
Someone worked
epic.
hard to build those maps.
Dude, Josh is with me on this. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, to see just like
play
the
that.
entire middle, like the western set of Hollywood just annihilated by a big ass dragon.
Yeah, there's a big hole.
That's some cowboys and aliens and
Dude,
shit, right?
It solves your respawn issue. You can just run through the wall. Like, you would just Hanzo ult to just fix the respawn.
It's a great idea.
Defense
Let's call
like
Blizzard
so
right now.
impossible. Are you kidding me?
Nothing's impossible. If people
You
can
would
make
be like-
Torbjorn work, nothing's impossible.
They haven't made him work. So until they make him work, it is impossible.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts on this discussion here before we close it out? Anyone? Any last words?
I think that the thing that we've clearly seen here with this class is if for some reason your damage is sedentary, so talking Torbjorn, talking Bastion, if your damage comes from something that is set up, you have issues in this game. And maybe that's the thing we found out, that maybe Bastion and Torbjorn need a more sense of mobility with their essential damage things. Torbjorn being his turret and the sentry for Bastion, where he has more ability to set it up easier in different locations. Whatever it be, if your damage depends on you staying still, you are not in a good spot right now. So I think that's going to be the focus for the defense classes that are failing. But as we've seen with the other defense classes, as long as they can move and really, replant themselves in different places, they have some strength. Whether it catches up with what the pros are going to do, that's a different question. Because in almost every game I've seen, pros love mobility.
Sure. I think Widowmaker gives a fair amount of mobility, actually, over Hanzo even. But
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else have final thoughts? Final
I want to play.
Yeah.
Rachel
Oh.
wants to play.
Wait. I do have one shout out. I cited that article earlier on.
Yes.
So
Go
one
ahead.
shout out to Yiske out and his article conceptualizing Overwatch scent trading explained. It's on Gold Pretend. If you want to find that out more, he's an ex-WoW esports writer, so he took a really numbers analytical approach to it. I personally enjoyed the article. If you want to read something up, maybe learn a little bit more that you didn't know, I would definitely go find it.
Yes, it's
I
a
just linked it in
fantastic
chat.
article.
Yep. Just linked in the chat. We're good.
Perfect. Yeah, so it's a fantastic article, guys. Go ahead and check it out. I'll also post it in all of the YouTube links, SoundCloud links, iTunes, all that stuff, so you can go ahead and check that out. But otherwise, I guess we're done for the night. We'll see you guys next week. We're talking about D.Va and the rest of the tank class.
What
and-
tanks other than D.Va? Are there tanks?
It doesn't really matter. It's
Oh
just
my
D.Va.
God.
But we'll be talking about that and pretty much having an hour-long discussion on D.Va and why she's just the only choice for a tank class. But yeah, otherwise.
We're gonna talk about Reinhardt.
All right, guys.
You're not
But,
gonna take up the pick.
But thank you guys for going ahead and tuning in this week, and we'll see you. We'll see you next Wednesday.
All right.